Yo guys, my name is Kees and welcome to Beyond Yourself. Today I want to talk about health. Yes, health. And I will divide it into two things: physical health, physical and mental. And yeah, a big question is always when you ask, like when people say, for example, yeah, I try to eat healthy. People ask them like, yeah, what do you mean by eating healthy? And this is the question which comes up to most people and also to me, because like how defining healthy is for everyone different. For example, if you define healthy for someone who is like a vegan, they define healthy in another way than a person who just eat only meat, for example. Like everyone has their own like ideas and thoughts about those kind of things. But I think there are like some common rules which describe like health in general. And I think the first one is really important, is like, I put it here in the middle, like the balance. Like without balance, I don't think any diet is good or like any workout split is good. And yeah, I think that's also like a big thing this whole channel revolves around, is like balance. And really with your nutrition, for example, then I'm gonna put like part of nutrition. But nutrition is like for physical, but it's also like for your mental health, because it impacts big time. Like for nutrition, it's really important, like it's balanced. And I did some really extreme like diets in my life, and they were working, and I was getting the results I wanted. For example, if I want to lose fat, I would go like intermittent fasting, or like I would do other stuff. But really, you can do those kind of things, but you can never maintain it for a longer period of time. So if you want to maintain something, then you should really focus on the balance. So how does it look, balance in a diet? So it doesn't, like you can go to McDonald's like once in 2 months or something if you like really crave it. I think like, and also like did it a lot, like yeah, you do this and then really punish yourself, or this really not work for me. And eventually if you start eating more and more healthy, you don't even crave like fast food anymore or like dirty foods. But at the start, maybe if you come from like a long way, at the first you'll be like, oh, I really would like to have some fast food. Then I think the solution is not to say like, no, you cannot do it, but then just sometimes get it, but then get back to your routine as quick as possible. Because I always remembered when I did like a really extreme diet, then I slipped. So for example, I know this very good example. I was like for like 2 months already in a diet, and it was going really well. I was losing the weight I wanted to lose. Then I was going to the barber, and I was counting like every calorie. And at the barber, he had like a big bucket with like candy. So I just was not thinking. I was grabbing a candy and I ate this candy, and it's like maybe maximum 50 calories. And I was going like crazy in my mind. I was like, fuck, I fucked up my diet. Next day, I'm starting like to. I'm like, fuck it, this whole progress is gone. So I started binge eating and stuff. And this, like, if you're like really strict for yourself and rejecting yourself for like the smallest thing, it's not gonna work in the long run. So you should just be like human and find a balance. So nutrition, really about balance, and how do you incorporate this balance? For me, this is a really important rule, 80/20, and it's also for nutrition is this, so 80/20. So for nutrition, try to eat 80% healthy, and healthy, I would go for nutrition, whole foods. So 80% whole foods, 20% processed foods. Like if you can get a better ratio, it's better, but 80-20 is, in my opinion, nowadays with all like the supermarkets and stuff, and almost a lot of things are processed. So you should, if you get really deeper into a healthy lifestyle, you can really get into like numbers and like you can yeah. It's like a whole rabbit hole if you want to go in there. But I'm keeping it simple, and I'm just saying 80% whole foods, 20% like processed foods. I don't want to get like paranoid about every detail about food, and I think if it's really where you're specialized in, then I really respect it. But for me, it's just too much effort and a too small amount of gain. But for example, about seed oils and stuff, which now it's like getting more and more obvious, like seed oils cause like diseases and those kind of things, then I think they are important to make sure you're not eating them. But for a lot of people, this is already like on the details. Like if you just focus on the whole foods and the processed foods, I think you're already doing a really good job. A physical, like a healthy physical life for me is like moving every day. And eventually when you get that in, moving every day, you should find also some more intensity and get your heart rate up. Because for me, I found out like I did a really long time like lifting weights and like getting stronger and that kind of stuff, but I think getting your heart rate up is like the best for your whole cardiovascular system, because it's just like it pushes the blood through the vessels, and for me it just makes sense. Like if the heart rate goes up, everything flows quicker. I always compare my body with like a car, because I'm also interested in cars. So if you have, for example, in a car the coolant system, if this water pump's like running harder, then I compare this with the heart, then it gets like all this shit, it gets like pushed through the vessel. So for example, if there's shit stuck, it gets like pushed through. I'm not like a specialist in this, but it just makes sense for me. So move every day. Move every day. And try to get like 2 times a week your heart rate up. If it's just like a 30-minute class or something, getting your heart rate up. Yeah, mental health. Yeah, mental health, like, it's hard, because what's healthy for that is, it really depends on how far you are as a person. Like if you're not in touch with, for example, with your emotions, and you find it hard to feel certain things, then some kind of really small progress can already be progress. But if you're like really yeah, I would say you cannot really say for like mental health like this is healthy. I think like, yeah, but this is gonna be a bit the standard things. Like you can do meditation, for example, and just becoming more aware of your mental state and also like your inner state. So yeah, just trying things out with getting more in touch with your emotions, and also getting out of your mind, so really getting in the moment. And you can, for example, meditate for that. Yeah, that's important. And another really important thing for a healthy lifestyle is, for me, like you have to seek discomfort from time to time, because in the part of like, I always, I'm gonna put this away. If this is like your comfort zone, like for example, you're on the beach and you're just chilling in the sun and you're hot, and you want to go into the water, it's gotta be cold. And that's already like stepping out of your comfort zone. And this is like a really small step, but I think the more of the small steps you do, the bigger steps you can eventually do. And it's also in social interactions. For example, if you find it really hard to be open and yeah, just to show yourself, then for example, it can already start like in smaller amounts. So just try to start small, getting out of your comfort zone, and eventually you can step further. And it's gonna be challenging and it's gonna be hard, but I think everything that's worth something is hard to achieve. So these are my thoughts on health in general, but of course health contains much more, and this whole channel will be about health and mental health and physical health. So if you like this video, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Ciao!